Hey, what's up, fam? This is going to be a probably assault-inducing video for some people. So, obviously, look at the title, and if you aren't ready for some truth bombs, and you're a ex-Hunter fan, this may not be the video for you. And the thing I want to talk about is the difference between Berserk's hiatus status and Hunter's hiatus status. And obviously, these two are kind of brought up amongst one another whenever people talk about Berserk going on hiatus, and then uh, shortly after Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter talking about Berserk. I've seen a lot of people, always say like Hunter is never going to end, but they'll say like, have you given up on Berserk? Berserk goes on hiatus all the time, and I haven't given up on Berserk, but I'll tell you, I've given up on Hunter x Hunter, and there's a reason for that. The reason is when you compare the layout of the hiatus themselves. What we get from a Berserk chapter, usually for one, much more pages than the Hunter x Hunter chapter. Obviously, recently though, there hasn't been a whole lot of dialogue in the fucking Berserk chapters, but it's more of the setting. Because right now in Berserk, the only thing really that's left is for the final battle to see who prevails between Guts and Griffith. The final outcome, what exactly is Griffith doing that is actually putting him to be a threat? Because obviously, what we know within the series, I'm going to fix my mic real quick. What we know is that all these people kind of see him as this hawk of light. He's portrayed as this kind of holy messenger, this angelic being, but the magic people know that that's a bunch of bullshit. He's actually this hawk of darkness, and something evil is going to come eventually. And with that, we know that Berserk is entering its kind of end game area. We've got Casca fixed. Guts is pretty much got his whole crew. He's met the Elf Queen. Griffith has his mass army, his kingdom. He's up on high. The only thing that could, oh, I'm sorry, hiccup. The only thing that really could come next is the full final resolution of the whole stuff with Casca, and her reaction with Guts, and obviously being reminded the events of the eclipse, and then the battle. So even though we only get, I think it's like 5 or 6 chapters of Berserk a year right now, there's still enough that we're getting where it could end at the pace we're going. The problem is the difference with that in Hunter x Hunter is Berserk is near the end. They could wrap Berserk up with 6 chapters a year within the next couple years. We just get kind of the resolution with Guts and Casca and what's going on there, the reveal of Griffith's actual plan, and then the final battle. And the final battle, even with 6 chapters a year, we do it 20 chapters over the course of 3 years. That's still pretty hefty with a monthly chapter size. We get 30 plus pages. I haven't, I don't remember what exactly it was recently, but I'm just going to go 30, maybe 35. And I think they've been a little less than that recently, but you know what I mean. It would just be action. There doesn't need to be some deeper stuff. You don't need to have all these characters with weird powers. Berserk doesn't really have to do with that. We don't really need any further character background. The only progression and kind of development that's left that we really need is Guts and Griffith. It's not like, for instance, the end of the last like couple battles with Fairy Tail, we had to do with the stuff with Irene and August, Zeref's backstory. We had to get the layout of what Akinologia was going to do to top Fairy Heart and Ravines of Time controlling Zeref. Or with Naruto, you're getting stuff between Obito. You're getting kind of the layout with Kaguya and the Otosuki clan for the potential of the sequel that we eventually got. Or, anything of the sort where they're kind of getting the last handful of characters' backstories. You find out like their weird powers and all this stuff. I mean, you could still get the backstory with some of the guys on Griffith's team, like the blind archer guy whose name I forget all the time that I really like. He's cool, but really it just needs to be the action. And with Hunter x Hunter, The problem with that is it wasn't that we're getting into a new arc. They could have ended it after the Chimera Ants and kind of just put it there and wrapped it up. But the thing is, when you compare the arcs, where to be like, well, you'd have to do a whole nother arc for the final battle for Berserk, but that would be the final battle. With Hunter x Hunter, the arc that they got kind of going on with the Dark Continent is kind of like a tip of the iceberg arc. So if you've read Toriko, you get through the entire human world of Toriko, and you finally get to the gourmet world, and you see the difference. The difference between them is the human world is really just it's like the tutorial, and you get to the gourmet world, and you're like, holy shit, this is where all the crazy stuff happens. That's kind of like what we're getting with Hunter x Hunter and the Dark Continent. Everything else feels like uh, it's nothing. And if Hunter x Hunter was a weekly, it could go One Piece length. We could get another 600 chapters of Hunter x Hunter if it was weekly, going to the Dark Continent, all that crazy stuff that Togashi seems to have planned. But unless he ends up writing out the plans and having somebody else draw it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And like I said, with Berserk, where they could wrap it up in a couple years, you can't do that in Hunter x Hunter because you just unleash this world of all this crazy stuff yet to be discovered, all this absurdity, the mayhem, the chaos, and all this area that the world can kind of develop. You see that everything they've done so far with Greed Island, York Shin, is that what it's called, York Shin or York New? I don't remember. The Chimera Ants, it was all just the beginning. But that beginning is really just gonna be it because Togashi goes on hiatuses all the time. And I know there's constant debate of the people that believe that he's sick and the people that know about his addiction to Dragon Quest and the fact that his hiatus is always kind of coincide with a release or announcement of Dragon Quest game stuff. I'm not going into that whole tinfoil hat fandom kind of theory. The same way with Mayura and as I think it's Idolmaster he has a thing for, but just kind of the position that the two series are in. Berserk is in that area where it could wrap up within the next handful of chapters. It could do a movie and wrap it up with the movie, or anything of the sort with the anime. But with Hunter x Hunter, unless they want to do the anime and just continue through the anime, or Togashi continuing it through someone else drawing the manga, it doesn't seem like there's potential for an ending. There's so much now that was established that isn't going to happen. They could have ended it after the Chimerans. Like I said, you got this extremely powerful being who had a a good death. You had Gon get that end game power up that could have been like, man, this is how strong he would have been. He got to meet his dad. Everything kind of got fixed up, but it's like, yeah, that Chimera ant that was powerful. It's the strongest of the hunters. Yeah, he's like a normal sized one. He's like a normal power one that we have on the Dark Continent. All these other things on the Dark Continent. You see the layout and you see all these crazy monsters, and it's just to the point where it feels like everything that's current in Hunter x Hunter feels like the base form of video game that has like 10 expansions planned and are at the ready, but those aren't gonna ever come out. So I'm sorry to the Hunter x Hunter fans out there that listen to this and realize what I'm saying, but honestly, I don't think there's a chance it's gonna end unless, like I said, the anime ends up coming back and continuing, and they just do the continuation through the anime, kind of like with Game of Thrones, because those books are never coming out. Or he has somebody else draw while he, writes it out really quick and then goes back to playing Dragon Quest. Then it's not. There's no real hope for Hunter x Hunter ending, but we do have some for Berserk. So I mean, these are truth bombs. It's a painful thing in the idea of a fandom, especially when it's like it doesn't just end and that's the end. When it doesn't get canceled. It's just the author just doesn't want to give you the ending or continue. Whether the Dragon Quest addiction theory is true or he's actually sick all the time. So yeah. So tell me what you think about that below. Are you gonna? Do you have you gotten this all is lost moment for Hunter x Hunter yet? Or are you still going to hold it through? Are you still going to stick it through, this drought? So yeah, tell me in the comments below. If you aren't subscribed to my channel already, I'd appreciate if you would subscribe. If you are subscribed, thank you. I appreciate all my subscribers, especially if I could get my damn actual my main channel back, or if I have to start from scratch with this channel. But yeah, so like I said, I do mostly manga stuff. Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, and Black Clover are my main stuff, but obviously I expand outside of that to other chapter reviews and discussions. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.